This is another new one off the Motionless and Right record here. Hollywood bonus. Oh, it's a bonus track actually. Ooh, we got some little bonus tracks. Maybe these last two ones are kind of like bonus tracks, I would say. So we got a free deluxe edition, a free deluxe upgrade off this new record here. So this is Motionless and White, Hollywood. Maybe it's gonna be reminiscent of kind of like America from the infamous days. Like a little alternative spin.
It's always on the weekend, like neon in the night, when Hollywood is bleeding, it never seems to die. You fuck like Tarantino.
Ooh. Is that a good thing? I don't know if that's a good thing.
Sometimes the ones you trust most are the ones twisting the knife. So we keep running and we're running till our hearts explode. We're living like we're dying, but we're still alone. So love me like I'm already your enemy. And just when you think you're at the top of the chain, someone comes around and puts you back in your place. The hunter and hunted are one and the same. 'Cause everybody's somebody's prey. Everybody's somebody's prey.
They're very different, kind of like a hardcore, hard rock alternative kind of rhythm. Still gotta have those synths though.
Like a sex scene, just read between the sheets.
Chris getting a little freaky though on this one.
Me like I'm MJ, a thriller in the streets. We keep running and we're running till the circuit blows. So hit me like I'm sugar laced with rock and roll, and love me like I'm already your enemy. And just when you think you're at the top of the chain, someone comes around and puts you back in your place. The hunter and hunted are one and the same. 'Cause everybody's somebody's prey. Everybody's somebody's prey.
Ooh. A little solo action. A little harmonized piece. Woo! Yeah, I like when they do their solos.
Just when you think you're at the top of the chain, someone comes around
Hey,
and
punky.
puts you back in your place. The hunter and hunted are one and the same. 'Cause everybody's somebody's prey. The pleasure of madness, the comfort and pain, the cruelest intentions with love in the way. The hunter and hunted are one and the same. 'Cause everybody's somebody's prey. Everybody's somebody's prey. Everybody's somebody's prey.
Okay, definitely was not expecting that sort of tone for that one. Very hard rock, very alternative sounding, very like more high-end punk distortion. That's the way on the guitars, very, that sort of, vibe, like 90s punk style rock. They've done songs like that before, but it just wasn't what I was expecting on this track like this, because I was thinking of more like the America vibe from their infamous, album, because when you say like Hollywood, just kind of reminiscent of the name, at least for me personally. But I was completely wrong on the tone on this sort of thing. Like I said, this album is just a mixed bag in my opinion, because you never know what song's going to sound like. You can never anticipate, just on the name alone, you have no idea what genre they're going to put out next on this one. Let me just say, because I wasn't even expecting this whole EDM sort of, like the EDC shift that they're going for on this one. But either way, this one's definitely not my favorite one on this record, let me just say, but it's very reminiscent of like the one they had on the Disguise record, like towards the one of the last track on the record. I forgot what it was called, but if you guys remember, you know what I'm talking about. It's like the one of the second or last one off that record. They've done this sort of like high octane, punk energy sort of tone before, but when he was doing the chorus sort of thing, it was kind of remind me of like a MCR a little bit, like of one of their track, the the teenager scare the living shit out of me, that song. It was kind of reminiscent of that track. I haven't listened to MCR personally, but I do know some of their tracks, but very reminiscent of that. If that was the kind of tone that they were going for, the kind of song they were kind of to make. Maybe they're MCR fans, I'm sure they are as well, but definitely has that sort of tone, that sort of vibe to them. But I could definitely see why those type of fans would like this sort of track, I would say. But for me personally, I'm more of a metalhead guy. I like the heavy hitting breakdowns. I like the fast paced and melodic riffs. I like my chuggy beats. I like my blast beats. I like my double bass. You know what I'm saying? So when they do that sort of stuff, I could definitely get behind that. But this sort of thing, I could just be kind of be one of the songs I would kind of skip on the album, I would say, unfortunately. But so far we've only had like a few sort of out songs that I really like on this record. Most of them have just been kind of like okay for me personally. But their very first one, when they came out with the EDM stuff, that one was pretty good though, when they first started, and then they did all the like electronic ones after that. But I believe this is the last one off the record, Fight Like Hell. Maybe this is the Ripley one. I thought we already listened to this one. Did we not? Yeah, Fight Like Hell right there. Did they do it again? Did they add it a second time by accident? Because I see it there. Then I see it up there. Is it the same track? I don't know. Maybe they added it twice by accident? Yeah, it's the same track, so maybe they added it, by accident. But either way, okay, I guess that's the end of the record so far. So it turns out they only have 13 tracks, not 14. I guess someone who made the playlist made a little mistake there. But so far, okay, I guess that's the end of the Motionless in White record. A decade, unfortunately, it's not my favorite album from this band personally. I was really excited to check this one out, especially for you guys as well, if you guys have heard it already. And I'm sure you guys have been excited to check it out as well. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely not my favorite one off the album, which is a sad thing to say, because I always love hearing my favorite bands come out with new music, to check out some new albums from these guys, especially my favorite ones. But especially Motionless in White as well, because they always make heavy hitting bangers. They always make heavy hitting catchy albums, with some songs are here and there, a hit or miss for me. But just this whole album, I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of mid to me personally, because they have some heavy hitting ones, like I said, Afraid of the Dark on there. They have, Playing God on there. The first one here, Decades, was a banger. And then the Log In, Log Out was a cool little, fun switch on like the whole techno style, mixed with metal sort of thing. They had a couple, bangers in here, but then this whole middle section of the track here, I felt like it was just missing something. It was just lacking something a little bit personally for me, especially on this one here. The count back from 0-1, especially that breakdown, it would have been a lot better if they added the bass to it, if they added those, those teasy. You can't tease me with those meaty bass lines, man. You can't tease me with those meaty, those doomy, chords that you've been playing on there on the rhythm side of things. And you can't add that and incorporate into the breakdown. I mean, like, what are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? So we gotta, there's certain things in here I would change personally. Maybe tone down a little bit on the EDM stuff. Maybe just add a little bit more guitar work here and there. But Chris just doing his his cleans, his mid cleans that he always does on all these tracks. A lot of dropout verses, which is kind of like samey in my opinion. Like, we've seen all that stuff before, especially on this album alone. He's done it quite a few times. But yeah, I don't know, man. Just this whole album, I feel like it's kind of okay to me. You know, I would hear some of these songs maybe again here and there, but I wouldn't go out of my way, I would say, to listen to the whole thing, to be honest with you. But like compared to other albums, which I can do that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It is kind of disappointing actually as well because I was anticipating this album. I really was hoping this one to be a good one, but sadly, you know, it's kind of getting buried between on some other ones that have been before this one. I would say, you know, Scoring the End of the World was is better than this one in my opinion, even though if they do have similar vibes, similar, imagery, similar guitar work, similar, songwriting, play styles in that album. I just feel like they've done that one a little bit better in my opinion, just because there's more catchy ones, more catchy verses, more hard hitting bangers on that one. So I favor that one a little bit more. Like I said, even if there are some weird ones on that one as well. But this one, I feel like is a little bit too weird for me in my personal taste. Like I said, with the EDM, with the electronic stuff, with the too much synth work, too much electronic stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love me some synth work as well. I just love it. You know, if it's over. But I just feel like this album is overplaying it a little bit too much, in my opinion. But when they do it normally, having it in the background, sort of like a lead sort of thing with the guitars, with everything, on top of all of that, then it can work fine like they always used to do from back in the day. They've been using the synths ever since their creation pretty much, but I feel like this one they tried doing something different. They tried to step out of their comfort zone and go more onto the EDM, more into on the electronic stuff. Try stuff like dubstep stuff. Maybe Chris just wanted to be chaotic and just out of just like blow up this album just because he wanted to shock people, he wanted to try something new, or he just wanted to do it just because of it, just to be funny. I don't know. But like I said, it is a hard thing to do, is to create a song as well as a whole album. So I can see how a lot of hard work went into this sort of thing. So I'm sure they changed a lot on all these songs. I'm sure they took out a lot of stuff. I'm sure they rewritten a lot of stuff. So I'm sure that they've been working a lot on this album. So, but for something that's like a decades long album, when it's been 20 years of the band, when you want this album to stand out and mean something, sort of thing. So I can kind of see like how this one kind of fall flat on that sort of message, that sort of tone that Chris was trying to portray on this album, as a band sort of thing. Because I know, because Afraid of the Dark alone, I feel like has all the references, just packed into that one song. It makes callbacks to Disguised, it makes callbacks to, 510, which is another heavy hitting banger, and 570, which is another hitting banger nonetheless. They're one of my favorite singles from back then as well. But I feel like that song had a lot of callbacks to that this whole album didn't, that they were trying to do, if that makes sense. Because I feel like they went, because that one song had all the references, all this, like I said, and then this album didn't have anything else related to that. Maybe they did, I just didn't catch up on that sort of thing. But to me personally, I feel like that's what Chris was trying to do on this album. He was trying to do this callback to previous albums, to call back to what makes the Motionless and White a band in itself. So, but I feel like Afraid of the Dark is the only song that did that, at least for me, at least from what I've noticed. But like I said, they could have been, he could have been planting little lines here and there, referencing to other things from other albums that I probably didn't catch up on, or little, like, Easter eggs or so, sort of thing that I didn't catch up on. But to me personally, I wish they did that a little bit more, especially if that's what they were trying to portray with this album or with this record. Because the art alone on this album is just insane. Because I felt like they were going to go into like a deathcore territory. I felt like they were going to go more doomy, more intense, especially if you're kind of reminiscing, Slaughter to Prevail's iconic, mask sort of thing. I felt like that reminded me of that, especially when Chris was doing that sort of thing with this album cover art, when he was kind of, doing a play off that sort of thing. So I feel like, that was getting me more excited. That was getting me more hyped for this album, because I thought they were going to go into more of a deathcore, more death metal sort of tonage for this album. But it turns out it was the complete opposite. So like when you do something, so it was kind of a throw off for me, because personally, because it's cool artwork, don't get me wrong, and it's a cool costume you put on, but it kind of threw me off, and I'm sure it threw a lot of the fans off when you see that sort of thing. You're like, holy shit, are we going to hear the heaviest album we've ever heard from Motionless in White? Like, where are we going? What are we doing? What is this guy? What is Chris having behind the scenes here? But it turned out to be more of like an EDM record in the first place. So, it is kind of a, doesn't really match up for me personally. But either way, it is what it is. I'm sure Chris likes that whole werewolf aesthetic, like similar to the past record. You know, the werewolf song we had is similar here. I think it was Blood Pact. I think was the uh one similar to werewolf on this one, which was it's all right in my opinion. Yeah, like he likes portraying that character as him like a werewolf or vampire or whatever, but I feel like I liked werewolf a little bit more on the previous record. So there's like little hints and pieces here and there on songs that are from past albums, but I feel like past albums did it better in my opinion. But you know, it is what it is. You're not gonna like every single song. You're not gonna like every single album from your favorite band. There's only a few that really do that for me. But either way, you know, it is what it is. All we can do is just like, you know, for fans that don't like it, all we have to do is just move past it. You know, just go back to listening to the other stuff and stuff. But there were still amazing band members. Don't get me wrong. They still do amazing shows. They still do amazing performances. But just this album just doesn't hit right for me in my opinion. Like, compared to other favorite albums that, you know, I was hoping that would be good from my favorite bands this year that tended out to not to be so good. So, you know, it is disappointing. It's a sad thing to say, but you know, some fans will like it, some fans are gonna hate it, some fans will be like kind of mid on it, which is kind of me at this moment. But you know, you can't please everybody. You just have to do what you want to do and do what you want to do, you know, as an artist, as a musician. You know, just portray your own sort of style, you know, express yourself in the way that you see fit. So if the band likes this kind of music, if the band likes creating this kind of music, you know, all power to them. But just for me personally, I like me the hardcore hitting stuff. I like me the blast beats. I like me the deep sounding breakdowns. I like me some chug stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if there was a whole album dedicated to like the Afraid of the Dark style, you know, music play style, I would be all in that hands down. But sadly, we only get like one or few, you know, singles from each album that sound like that. So unfortunately, that's not the case. But either way, like I said, I still like some of these tracks on here on this album. It's just not my favorite one, like I said. But either way, it is what it is. But we got a whole lot of new albums coming your way in the near future, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna stay tuned for that. I feel like, you know, Electric Cowboy is gonna come out with one fairly soon as well, amongst his other ones coming out in the next couple months or so. So I'll definitely be on those ones as well when those drop. So be sure to stay tuned for those as well. And be sure to, you know, make sure when I do go live, you guys will definitely know. So be sure to subscribe, follow, and so you definitely know when I go live on all these next album reactions, and keep up to date with all my covers. I'm coming out with stuff with one that I'm doing it, like I mentioned earlier previously, that's coming out fairly soon, as well as other original music I've been working hard at as well. So be sure to stay tuned for that as well over on my YouTube channel. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, whoever you guys have been watching, thank you guys for stopping in, checking it out on this whole stream here. But it definitely will be up for you guys to go check out as well. And if you guys are watching this when it's already posted, I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I hope you guys enjoyed this album. I hope you guys, you know, let me know what you guys' thoughts and opinions on this record as well down in the comments. I'll be sure to read those for you guys as well. But yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. And also be sure to hit that subscribe button, especially new here, because going through every single band channel, ladies and gentlemen, you want to miss out on a single one. I guarantee that. And I'll see you guys in the next one.